because I've just been joined by Dennis Miracles Aboagye, spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia, joins us via phone right now from the UPSA, and very shortly we'll get to connect to my colleagues on the ground so we can get a feel ahead of that major speech later tonight. Miracles, thanks for your time here on The Pulse as we build up into that major speech by the Vice President and the candidate of your party. What should we expect?
Thank you, my brother. I think today marks the beginning of the Vice President's journey to become President in 2025 for the Republic of Ghana. This afternoon, we should expect the Vice President to provide clarity, cogent reasons why he believes he's the best person to steer the affairs of this country going into the future. Expect the Vice President to give highlights of specific alternative policies that he believes will be able to drive Ghana into a more prosperous future that we all expect. He's going to take us on a journey of where we have come from and try to give a vivid graphical presentation of where we are as a country and what, in his view, he believes will be the solutions that we need to confront the challenges ahead of us as a country. And so we're really asking everybody to pay very close attention to what the Vice President is going to say. The whole objective is to ensure that every single voter in this country has a reason which are issues-based to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as President come election 2024.
And give us the background to this. Why has this become necessary for the Vice President? I mean, he has been talking even after he was elected. He's had many public platforms to speak about national issues, but this has been couched as a very unique seminal moment for him. Why is that?
Let's just say it marks the beginning of a very important journey in the life of the Vice President politics. This is the first time he's putting himself out there on the ballot paper to be elected into any office at all in this country. You would recall that the Vice President, since he came into the forefront of politics in this country, has been advocating for issues-based politics, issues-based campaigning. And so since 2008 and 2012, 2016 elections, he has been one of the people who consistently, everywhere he finds himself, will be pushing for politicians to drive their elections and politics with issues. And so he believes that if he's going to begin campaigning, or he's going to start his campaign for election 2024, at least it will be prudent for him to use this platform to itemize or give a highlight of the broad issues that he believes will be pursuing if he is elected as president. And so it is definitely going to be an aggregation of some of the issues that he's been talking about, but as part of this will be some of the feedback that he has taken from the people throughout his tenure as Vice President. The things that he has seen that he believes could be done in certain ways going into the future, those things will be itemized today. I mean, we've already had a Vice President say that the philosophy is the same, but the paths are definitely going to be different. And so it's important that he uses this opportunity to highlight the different paths that he believes we would need as a people going into the future. The challenges confronting this nation in 2024 are definitely different from the challenges that we were confronted with in 2020, and definitely different from the challenges confronting us in 2016. And so the issue is that what are the challenges confronting us in 2024? How is the Vice President envisaging or seeing these challenges? And what are the solutions he's preparing for these challenges? And so I think we should see this as that solemn moment where we sit behind our TVs, our radio sets, and clearly listen to the Vice President and also make our decisions, our informed decisions as to who we believe to be leading us going into the future. I mean, it's clear that predominantly the two leaders are His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but we should have a reason why it should be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or otherwise. And that's what he's going to be doing this afternoon.
You use the words different path. He himself has talked in the past about he has his own vision. Do you admit that his biggest challenge tonight is illustrating to us in very clear terms, backed by evidence, how he's different from his current boss and the administration he's been part of, at least for the past 7 years?
I mean, he's been different from Nana Akufo-Addo without doubt. I mean, he doesn't need to necessarily show any extraordinary evidence. It's a matter of fact, backed by data, that no two leaders are the same. Former President Rawlings definitely was not the same, did not have the same leadership style as former President Mills. And even though His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was Vice President to former President Mills, surely we have to admit that his leadership style was completely different from former President Mills. And in a similar manner, you agree that Nana Akufo-Addo's leadership style definitely has been different from President Kufuor's style. So, I mean, if you want evidence of whether his leadership style will be different or not from Nana Akufo-Addo, he doesn't need to prove anything. The data in existence show clearly that no two leaders are the same. But what is important is that he stated clearly that the philosophy remains the same. The philosophy of the new Patriotic Party is that the enabling environment should be created for every Ghanaian to be able to thrive. And that is why if you watch all the tenor of the new Patriotic Party in Ghana, you realize clearly that during the President Kufuor era, very clear policies that will provide the baseline for the survival of every Ghanaian was introduced. So talk of the National Health Insurance Scheme, talk of the school feeding program, talk of the free maternal care, all those capitation grants, the school feeding. Now Nana Akufo-Addo brings the free senior high school. So the NPP's philosophy is clear. Let us provide that baseline platform for every Ghanaian to be able to thrive, to serve as a springboard for every citizen to be able to move into the next level. So that basic thing, that basic philosophy still remains with the Vice President. But of course, how these things are going to be done will differ from leader to leader. And so maybe other than that, certain things were pursued using the left path. What Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying is that under his leadership, he may pursue that same principle, but using a different path. And that would clearly show in his speech today. And so if there's any evidence you are going to be looking for, it is for you to identify some of the different parts, clear-cut different parts from what some of the things that Nana Akufo-Addo has done. That is not to say that there is anything wrong with what Nana Akufo-Addo might have done. But the point is that every vision has a terminal end. Every vision has an objective. Nana Akufo-Addo's vision clearly comes to an end in 2024. By law, he would not be able to have any other mandate to continue as a president. And so that is where a new leader emerges. And that new leader must also pick up a vision that continues from where the current leader is living. And in doing that, three things will come to play. Where did he take us from? Where are we? What are the things that we've been able to achieve? The new leader would have to protect those things we've been able to achieve. And then clearly tell us the things that are outstanding that we haven't been able to achieve. Of course, there are a lot of things that Nana Akufo-Addo has achieved, but surely so many other things he has not been able to achieve. The new leader should be able to consolidate the ones we've been able to achieve, and then give us clear-cut strategies as to how going into the future we'll be able to pursue the ones that the current leader was not able to achieve in order to bring prosperity to the people of Ghana.
And stay with me, Miracles. I still have with me Dr. Alidu Seidu, who's the head of the Political Science Department at the University of Ghana. Dr. Alidu Seidu, you've just had Miracles there. Now, Dr. Bawumia has been the vice president under this current government. He will today, as you've just heard there, tell us how his path will be different from the president, his current boss, but also spelling out what his vision is and how that then is different from the current boss. Can he successfully maneuver this, though? Because he's been the vice president. Definitely, he would also have to run on the record of Akufo-Addo. In fact, he will run on his own record. And that record is not entirely without blemish. In fact, it's with significant blemish, as we've seen where the economy is, etc. So he has to take the benefits and then has to also take the liabilities to this. In acknowledging that, though, how does he go about telling us how his path is different from the Akufo-Addo when he's been part of this path from day one. And how does he sell this new vision for us in a way that again becomes convincing for us to then say, okay, well, we've had you, and now we know you can do something different from what we've been used to in the last 7 years.
Thank you so much, Evan. I think it's a very delicate job for His Excellency the Vice President to do. One, like you mentioned, there were a lot of good things the MPP government has been able to achieve. And definitely, he can't run away from those good things. He has to campaign on the record of those things. But there are also a lot of things that the MPP government did that Ghanaians are not happy. And he has to be very careful in not associating himself to those things. But what I do believe is that he can do this in a brilliant way by not apportioning blame, but emphasizing his point of departure. So yes, this was what we managed to do, this was what we made, this is what we did, and this is moving forward what we intend doing, or what I intend doing as a leader. And he has to do this by emphasizing, one, his soft skills, or skills generally, his experience, his talent, and how all those qualities will be brought to bear in achieving his vision. But two, it will be very important to point towards the direction of resources, especially finance, where he's going to get resources or how he's going to mobilize resources to be able to achieve the things that he promised to do when Ghanaians will put confidence in him by voting for him 2024 December. So I think it is more about emphasizing his point of departure, not just stating it, but evidently backing them in terms of how his background, his training, his experience, his skills and talent can help him achieve what he is telling us he's going to do. But also how he is able to mobilize revenue and resources to be able to achieve them. So it is a very delicate thing for him to completely rubbish the setbacks of this current government. I don't think he can do that, since he's going to campaign on the good part of this government. So what he should do is to emphasize the good part of the government, but tell us his point of departure, how he as an individual, his ability, his talent, his capacities can help him achieve the vision in his profession, but also how he's going to mobilize resources to be able to do that. So I think if he's able to emphasize this in that particular perspective, convincingly, people may believe him.
And there are some very unpopular decisions this government had taken that has pitched them firmly against the public. How categorical must he be today in demonstrating to the public, and he's going to go to them, attempt to get them to vote for him? How categorical must he be today in getting the public to appreciate that, well, I am not the boss, and I, in essence, did not sanction this? Do you expect him to even be that categorical?
Yeah, I think he can be, because in the past, I've heard people who defend the vice president saying that he wasn't in charge, because if you are the vice president, the president takes all the decisions. So if that is the case, then that technically makes him a lame duck vice president. But on the other breath, there have been a lot of people who have defended him for being remarkable as a vice president, the innovative ideas and policies he has brought to bear on the growth of this country. So if you are saying on one breath that he's lame duck because, not technically lame duck, because he is being led by the president, he doesn't have the opportunity to maneuver and be innovative, then on the other breath, you are saying he has done all these things. There is a kind of a little bit of contradiction. So what I think is that there are a lot of policy decisions that he might have disagreed with, make his impact and disagreement known, but still, because it's not the final, the buck doesn't stop with him. He can only make his impact, input and disagreement, but it should be implemented by maybe the president or the minister or whatever I say. And that is why maybe when I take over and I'm in charge of everything, these policies may not be repeated under my watch. And I'll be very careful how I deal with it. So he has to be very careful not to step on a lot of toes, but he has to be very categorical in when he's associating himself with some of these things.
And for him to do that, he definitely must have the buy-in of his boss currently and other team members around him, either the economic management team, knowing what he's about to say, so that when he's done, at least there is unity of purpose and everybody goes behind the message. I want to go back to Miracles on that. Miracles, how extensive has this consultations been towards today in terms of what he is about to say, and what is the extent of buying into what he's about to say? Because you said he needs to chart a new path, and he'll be telling us his own path. Well, there are many in your party who believe that, well, the path that he's been on with the president is the path. So why do you want to chart a new path? That then goes to the point about consultations before today. How extensive has it been? Hello, Miracles.
I think one of the points that I need to make shortly is the fact that the vice president's position on a new vision in a different path is no way saying that he's disassociating himself from the current path or the current president or the current team. That point I think needs to be made falsely. But you see, like I said earlier, every vision that you set for yourself as a president for every country must be within a context. And so, by the time you were coming to office in 2016, there were specific challenges that were confronting the nation, based on which you would look at the challenges and carve where you believe you would be able to take the nation to. But you should be mindful that you would have not more than 8 years to be able to prosecute that. And so everybody working with you would work with you solely based on the vision you've started for yourself, but mindful of the fact that it must be within a certain framework or time frame. Now, we are in 2024. Nana Addo Dankwa-Akufo-Addo's vision and plans that he has, this is the time to do an appraisal of that vision, know where we have come from as a nation, what was it that Nana Addo Dankwa-Akufo-Addo wanted to achieve, how much of it have we been able to achieve, what is left to be done, which has not been able to be done within the period. And then, as the next leader, it is on that premise that you would also develop what your vision will be for the nation for the next 8 years should you have the power. Because you cannot have the vision based on nothing. You must definitely do an assessment of what it is that you are going to get yourself into. Then you'll be able to define for yourself what it is that you think you can take us. So the vice president says you have a new vision. Basically, is saying that where we are, we definitely need to come up with a new vision. We need a new plan. We need to have a new ambition. Because what it is that we came to meet, we have done so much within the period, and there needs to be the next phase of it. And so that clearly is what he means by having a new vision. Starting a new path is very, very simple and clear. There is no doubt that even when we sit in the same room as a government, I mean, you can ask Professor Alidu, even in the political science department, as the head of department, he will agree that when they go for departmental meetings, there are lecturers and other unit heads in the department who may disagree with some of the decisions or directions to which he will be leading the department. But once the collective decision is made, every single person in the political science department would have to conform, and they will have to pursue that objective that has been set by the collective group as the political science department. But that doesn't mean that everybody in that department at that time agrees to the direction in which Professor Alidu would be leading the political science department. That does not also mean that that collective responsibility will be ignored by any of the political science department members. Once the decision is taken by the government, the vice president, all members of cabinet, and all of us who work with the government align, and we must pursue it with the latter. But it doesn't mean that all of us within the government at that time would agree to the direction with which we are going. So definitely, you should expect that once a new leader emerges out of the party, definitely that leader would definitely pursue certain vision, certain objectives that would depart from some of the directions on the party that we took with the current government. And that is in no way, it is in no way to say that you have any problem with the government or you are disassociating yourself with the government. Every leader has their own style, and every leader has their own way of doing things. And that is already evidential through whatever social studies that we have across the world, across countries. There is no way that leaders from the same political party or even leaders, President Obama's leadership skills or style is completely different from what we are experiencing from Joe Biden. And yet Joe Biden was President Obama's very close vice presidential candidate. So I don't think we should have any controversies at all when it comes to this issue of starting a new path or going to a new direction as stated by the vice president. This is a new leader with his own vision. The vision is basically saying that I am taking off from where we are now, looking at what we have been able to achieve, protecting it, and then identifying the gaps. And the ones we haven't been able to do, then I'll pursue those ones. I think this is the finest you can find anywhere. That is not in any way saying that the vice president is departed or is disassociating himself from the current government. What it means is that it shouldn't be difficult at all for him to itemize clearly what this new path is. And I can assure you that by the end of this speech today, you should see clearly that this is a complete departure from what is transpiring or used to transpire under the same government that the vice president is part of. That does not in any way mean disassociation. Simply means that from where we are, this new path is what we believe can take the country to the next level.